the ruling to the parties. So they were aware.
So you were certain that the MCP was aware that it had been vacated. Why I'm asking that is because I expected that there should be room in case the MCP needed to appeal against that judgment. In which case they only had like the space between the vacation of the injunction and the time that you announced to make that appeal.
Well, you know, the electoral disputes, they are not appealable. From the High Court. The High Court is the highest court for electoral disputes. So it's final.
So for you, the moment that injunction was vacated, that was it, and the results had to be announced?
Yes. Because that's the highest court. Electoral disputes are not appealable from the High Court to the Supreme Court. They end at the High Court level.
Would one be wrong to say the Electoral Commission was in a hurry to announce these results? Things happened so fast that evening.
The results have to be announced according to law within 8 days.
Yes.
And you remember, at that time, we had already announced the results for the members of parliament.
Yes.
And we had processed the results for the president. What was holding us was the injunction. The injunction had been vacated, and knowing that electoral disputes are not appealable to the Supreme Court, that was it. We went ahead and announced.
Soon after you announced the election results, things started happening, which have led us to where we are now, where we've got a case in court, and up to now, we're still waiting to see what is going to come out of that. And I'm sure as a commission, but also as an individual, there are many things that have been happening that are affecting you. I just want us to look at the post-announcement of the results era, what has been going on. To start with, we heard that the commission was divided just before the announcement of the results. Were there some members of the Electoral Commission that were not pleased that the election results had to be announced in that manner, or it was a unanimous agreement that everything had been done and dusted, let's announce the results, we've done a good job, let's go home?
It is news for me to hear that the commission was divided. Our work, from the time we started to the end, it was all by consensus.
So everybody in the commission was okay with what happened?
Yes.
Looking at the composition of the commission, are you confident that the process of appointing members to the commission is balanced, is fair? Does it achieve the intended purpose to ensure that we've got a commission that represents the interest of all political parties in the country?
Well, the appointment is according to law.
Yes.
The law that we have is that the president, in consultation with political parties represented in the parliament, he will appoint. The process is that those political parties that are in parliament, they give names. And the president appoints from those names. As for the chairperson, it is the Judicial Service Commission that comes up with the name. That is why you find out that for the chairperson, oath is taken before the Chief Justice. So it's the Judicial Service Commission that appoints.
So as the chairperson of this commission, you are confident in the process that is involved in appointing members to that commission, and you think there can't be any way of improving the way this commission is arrived at?
I look at different commissions
Yes.
in the different nations.
Mm-hmm.
They have different ways of appointing the commissions. And some have got a similar way of appointing, like Malawi. You'll know and understand that when laws are being made, the drafters, they just don't sit down. All of those people that want to make law sit down and say, how do we do it? Normally, they are learning trips.
Mm-hmm.
For those, they visit the different countries, they study there what they do, how they do it. Then when they come here, they look at what they have. They have the practices of other nations, and they look at their own situation, and they come up with the best situation for a country. So Malawi saw it, that it was important that political parties should be involved in the appointment of commissioners. And for me, so far, we have worked well.
Okay.
We have always reached our resolutions by consensus.
The UTM president, Saulos Chilima, wrote a letter dated 7th June addressed to you calling for your resignation. Did you receive this letter?
Yes, I did.
And
I responded to the letter.
Okay. May I know how you responded to that letter?
I said the issues that he has pointed out, they are the gist of the matters that are in court. So I will not comment because the matter is in court.
There were calls made in that letter for you to resign. Did you see any merit in those calls?
What I can say is that what I did my work according to law. And some of the issues, maybe you have them, they were already dealt with as I was doing the update. And the people just have to go back to the update and listen again and see whether those issues were not dealt with. But having said that, I am saying if I responded to him, it will be responding to court, like giving evidence. So I would rather leave the matters to the court.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can only say is that those are allegations. I come from a family of 8.
Yes.
We are all 8 siblings. And within the 8 siblings, me and my brothers and my sisters, people belong to different parties. And we have a family forum. It is for family issues.
Mm-hmm.
But someone will throw in this and that. I never commented. I never told any of my relatives not to vote for that, to vote for that. So if I did not tell my own relatives, don't vote for A, B, C, D, how can I go and tell somebody else? Apart from that, the way the commission works, the commission, it is not in a permanent, it's not a permanent commission like other commissions outside. We all are working on a temporary basis, like the boards. When you hear of boards of certain institutions and companies, that's how we work. It's only that the commission is called a commission, but for all purposes, it is like a board. We go to the commission for board meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And the commission meetings. And in those commission meetings, the secretariat bring issues. They bring with the issue paper, and they will brief us. We will go through everything, and then come up with a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that I meet as a chair, it is in the board meetings, is basically the CEO. And at the times when the directors come in with the issue papers, or we want to ask them questions. So as a commissioners and the chair, I don't interact with the staff because it's on a temporary basis.
So the allegations made in the letter that you were telling members of staff at the Electoral Commission, or possibly the Commission itself, that you would be glad if they helped you ensure that President Mutharika is re-elected, those allegations are unfounded.
Unfounded completely.
You never said that.
I never said it. That's why I'm saying, if I cannot tell my own family members, would I go and tell people at the office? In any case, for me, I believe that the processes that were in place, they are watertight for rigging. I even said it. I said it several times, that the way I looked at it, it was almost impossible to rig. Why? Because the process, you have monitors from different parties and observers, both local and international. They are observing everything from the opening, polling, closing, counting.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, for them to say maybe they will falsify, bribe everybody, to me I find it impossible. And then we have auditors at the constituency level. The auditors are there to ensure that the figures are the right figures. And apart from that, you know, coming back to the family issue.
Yes.
I know members of my family. Members of my family, they belong to MCP, UTM, DPP, and we don't indulge in telling anybody what to do.
Okay.
And apart from that, for me, I've grown up with relatives that are Muslims. My grandmother's sister, I knew her from the time I was born. And when my father died, it was her son that was looking after us, a Muslim. Apart from that, you know Kampata. At Kampata, they are Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my relatives. I go when there are funerals. When there's a wedding, I go to the mosque, I sit with them.
Okay.
Even yesterday, they were at my house. So it's absurd for anyone to say that.
Well, the letter went on to say that you particularly said you didn't want Dr. Chakwera to win, neither did you want Dr. Chilima to win for various reasons that were given in the letter. So you also did not say these words.
No, I didn't. That's why I'm saying, members of my own family, you know, I've got even wearing party colors for UTM. Mm-hmm. For MCP, telling you, now I'm going to vote. This, I've attended the meeting. And we don't discuss politics. Even me, I am at the church. We don't even discuss politics. We just preach the word. So I don't know where that is coming from.
The meetings that you have had with the commission, I presume you do keep a good record of that through minutes. Is this something that some sections of the society might have access to, just to see what forms the nature of those discussions?
Well, I don't know what the law says.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot just say sectors of the society can come.
Yes.
But if there was a court order, I'm sure. You know, in life, there are things that are reviewed, are public, and other things are not public.
Dr. Saulos Chilima and several civil society organizations are calling for your resignation because they say you did not handle the past election very well. There were so many irregularities. Are you going to resign?
What I can say is that Dr. Chilima has seen it fit that he should follow the proper procedure. The proper procedure, according to law laid down, is that if there is any complaint, the commission has dealt with it, they can take it to court. And that is what they have done. And the human rights defenders, the human rights are within our law. And the human rights are observed and enjoyed within the law. Now, there's the rule of law. The rule of law is that there must be laws that are clear and understood and easy to follow. So there are laws concerning everything that they are talking about. And to me, the right way as citizens that abide by the law is to allow the whole process to go through according to law. In our law, there is nowhere where it is said that people should take the law in their hands. What they are doing is mob justice. We don't have mob justice in Malawi. It is not allowed for people to take the law in their own hands. And also in Malawi, in the old days, in the traditional courts, it was said that you are guilty until proved not guilty. Mm-hmm. But in this dispensation, someone is not guilty until proved guilty. So what they are saying, their allegations, is Dr. Chilima and the human rights defenders, are they both investigators, prosecutors, and judges of me? That's not what the law provides, even at international standards. They must be separate. An investigator should be different from a prosecutor, from a judge. So if they have made the allegations, they should let a judge give a judgment and then act. But for them to go out to the streets, to me, that's mob justice. They have taken themselves to be investigators, prosecutors, and judges. And our law does not provide for that. That is lawlessness.
Are you going to resign?
I have said the matter is in court. I will listen from the judgment.
We have before us a situation where 3 of the major political parties are claiming that there were irregularities in the elections that we just had. And you are the one who headed that commission. Isn't that enough reason for you to accept that you didn't do a good job and resign?
If they were so convinced that they had reached a verdict about the irregularities, then they should have not gone to court. If they had not gone to court and they brought that, it would have been sorted out with them. And our law also says everybody must be given a chance to be heard. Section 43 of the Constitution. So if they are so convinced that I am guilty, what are they doing at the court? But if they are at the court, let them have enough patience to say, we have taken the matter to court, let the court decide. When the matter is concluded, then they can stand on that judgment to come to me and ask me, but not before that. So at the moment, what I believe is they don't have the mandate to ask me. Let them get the mandate first.
As a matter of principle, elsewhere, we see people resigning without necessarily waiting for all the due process of the law to be followed. But where your conviction tells you that I think I didn't do a good job, I will not wait for the courts to prove whether I did or not, but I think I accept that there were irregularities. For that reason, I don't think I'm worthy to continue heading this institution. And people do resign based on that. Should I take it that, let's put the court's issue aside, you are not convinced that there's any reason whatsoever to convince you to resign?
You know, every case is different.
Mm-hmm.
You have just said some people resign. You have not given any specific example and in what circumstances. So my circumstances warrant that those that are demanding that I should resign, they should have the basis. They should have the authority that enables them to tell me to do that. At the moment, they have surrendered it to the court. So let them have the patience to wait for the court process.
What would it take for you to resign? What would be convincing to you to say, I think now it's time for me to pack up my bags and go?
When the court says yes, they were, because of these irregularities, they were the elections were not properly done.
Mm-hmm. You would then resign?
Yes.
Do you acknowledge that there were irregularities in the past election of May 21, 2019?
Well, that is the evidence that I say I'm not going to give. You see, that is the evidence that I'm not going to give, because the law is there. And what can I say? Well, I'm not going to say much.
But in the course of you giving updates at the Tale Center in Blantyre at Comesa, you seem to have been alluding to the fact that there were irregularities. And you did make reference to these. The forms that were altered, although you said the election results section was not tampered with, but that was an irregularity. You also are on record as having acknowledged that there were some people who were found with 2 ballot papers. I think if my memory serves me right, in Bangwe you said there was a case of people who were being found with such documents.
No, I don't remember saying that.
But you agree that you did allude to the fact that there were some irregularities in the election. The sheer fact that you were resolving 147 queries is to me a sign that there were irregularities.
Don't draw me in the giving evidence. All that I can say is that I updated the nation concerning the complaints. If you go back, you will get the real responses that I gave. And from the responses, you will see whether there were irregularities or not.
Shortly after declaring...
You have asked whether you can access the answers. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Someone can access the responses.
Now, after you announced the results, of course, there are a series of activities that followed. That also included the inauguration of the president. And we saw you taking pictures with members of the Democratic Progressive Party at the stadium. Do you think you did the right thing to take pictures with those people?
You know, at the stadium, when I was going, I was accosted. I didn't even look at the faces of the young people. So it's a...
You were aware that these were DPP supporters?
Do you know what? As a matter of policy,
yes.
Me, I don't watch TV.
Okay.
I think I shared with you at the first time. I don't watch TV. Therefore, I don't know what people are wearing. Neither do I follow did I follow rallies?
We saw pictures of you with people who were wearing DPP T-shirts and caps and other political party regalia, which was to me a clear sign that you must have known that they are supporters of the Democratic Progressive Party. And you went ahead and took pictures with these people.
I'm saying, as we were leaving, I was accosted and the pictures were taken. Do you understand? It's not that I sat and I say, let me go and take pictures.
You are on record as saying the truth will set me free. And it is the truth that will come from this, meaning the election. After I have done all the work here, I'll pat myself at the back and say, well done, Jane Ansah. You have done according to the law. Now that you did your work, do you still stand by these words?
Do you know, I've removed my eyes because there's one thing that you should know about the eyes. Eyes, they will not hide a lie. Eyes will show wickedness. Eyes will show love. Eyes will show hatred. I stand by what I said. Everything that I did according to law, and that's it. So my conscience is clear that I did everything according to law and according to the processes that were there.
There's nothing that you think you did that could, in whatever way, have jeopardized the results of the elections?
Not at all. Not at all.
You must have the privilege of speaking to the president at some point, and even after the announcement of the results. What does he say about how the whole thing went?
No, I haven't spoken to him.
You've not spoken to the president since you announced the election results?
I just spoke to him once, asking for permission to go to the funeral.
And you've not discussed anything in relation to the elections?
No.
What do you think should be done to ensure that next time we don't have a situation like this? What went wrong that we must be on the lookout for? If you are leaving notes to your successor, should that be the case, what would you tell them to look out for?
What I can say to that answer is that every election is unique. So because every election is unique, you only learn from what happened in the previous election. But every election will bring its own challenges. What I would say, to me, the most important thing is to be transparent. And that is what I learned from the 2014 elections. That be as transparent as you can, so that everybody is following what is happening.
In hindsight, are there things you think you should have done better?
No. For me, the MEC did the best they knew how to do and they could do.
And it still ended here. I'm still interested to know, because you're at a very privileged position. You know how the Electoral Commission operates. You have interacted closely with all political parties. You know the political landscape very well. Certainly something must be wrong. If you did everything that was supposed to be done the way it was supposed to be done, and you say there's nothing whatsoever that you'd change about how you did it, and we still have got a case in court, and we've got 3 of the major political parties alleging that there was rigging, that something must be wrong.
That's why I have said at the very beginning that the Electoral Commission is a management body, and it does not work alone. It works with the stakeholders. When MEC does its part and the stakeholders do their part, things go well. That's why I've said, right from the beginning, throughout to the end, we involve the stakeholders. When I say throughout to the end, when you look at the process, like opening of polling stations, stakeholders are there. The ballot boxes are shown to them. It's empty, yes. We are sealing, yes. These are the seals, yes. Can you take down the seal numbers? Yes. And the voting is done when the stakeholders are there, together with MEC staff. At the end, they will close and say, these are the boxes. Yes. Can you check the seals? Yes. Seal number so, number so. I'm breaking the seal. Yes. This is together with the stakeholders. They are watching. They count. At the end, they say, we have counted. This one has got so much. Yes. We are recording. So they record. And they say, now append your signatures. They append their signatures. So, what else? After that, they are auditors. They are auditing. You know, the auditors, the additions and everything, they what? They are doing it together. They sign for them. Then at the National Talent Center, the results sheets are yet again given to the party representatives. Check if all is in a well. And they check, you see, and you do not get a feedback. In fact, even at the Talent Center said we got a feedback from UTM only, and that matter was dealt with. So you get a feedback and you announce. So you can see from beginning to the end, you are moving together. And that's why at one time I said, if you say we are rigging, then we are all rigging together. Because we are all together. From the very beginning, you are like this, up to the very end.
So maybe we haven't seen the last of this. We could possibly have another election that goes down the same trail that this one has gone. That's kind of hopeless to me. I expected you to be in a position to say, maybe if we fix this problem, we might stop this from happening again.
What the problem? For me, what I know is the process. And I don't find anything wrong with the process. And if I begin to talk about what other people did or should have done, when I'm saying other people, that's outside the MEC,
yes,
then I'm speaking to them. But the good thing is, after an election, there are post-mortem meetings with the stakeholders. You look at everything together and see where you did well and where you did not do well, and then you come up with recommendations on how to improve. This is exactly what we did in 2014. That's why you have seen that the Talent Center in 2014 was at the district.
Yes.
But this time,
it was constituency.
Stakeholders said it is difficult for us to travel long distances, and maybe there's a chance of altering and what have you. Let us have it at the constituency Talent Center, where people will easily go. And that was done. And even with that, people are still complaining. I don't know. When we have these post-mortem meetings, maybe we'll come up with something. But as you are asking me at the moment, I think we have done the best we could do.
As one of the most respected legal minds in Malawi, what do you understand by majority rule, especially in relation to an election like this?
Majority rule in respect to the elections?
Yes, to the results of an election like this. And I ask that in reference to queries that have been there about how a leader should be able to get the majority vote so that they can have mandate to govern a country.
You know, in all this, it is the law. And where does the law come from? It comes from the people. It's the parliament that passes the law. And I was there when the constitution was being drafted. I attended the constitutional conferences. We discussed a lot of things. And after many, many discussions, we came up with a particular system, democratic system, voting system. And that's what we have. So according to that, our democratic system, voting system, which provides for first past the post, that's the majority. So to me, it's what the law is.
Are you proud of the work that you did as the chairperson of the Electoral Commission in Malawi?
Yes, I am.
What would you say to those who feel shortchanged, that the process was not fair and credible? What would you say to them?
What I would say to them is that Malawians, let us be attentive to what is being said, one. Secondly, Malawians, let us take an interest in following processes. Because when you understand the process and what has to be done, and you do it, you will see that things, they have gone in a particular way. You know, if we do not educate ourselves to understand the processes, we tend to see the world with our eyes, the way we see it. And secondly, thirdly, what I have learned during the elections is that Malawians are very intelligent people. They are very knowledgeable. And so much these days that they are doing very well in computers, ICT, and the phones, the social media. And the level of wisdom, intelligence that has been displayed, if it is used positively, would have people come up, would have fiction writers, who write fiction stories. They will sit down and dream of a thing and write and sell books. We will have people come up with a good invention, like the Star Wars. The Star Wars don't exist, but someone sat down and imagines that they are Star Wars, and they take people's time watching the cartoons. Why am I saying this? The amount of fake news, it takes a mind to come with the fake news. So I would say, let us take time to look at fake news. Let us use our wisdom. For example, there's a story going out there that I have received 2 billion. And there was even a petition that people should sign to petition Britain not to allow me to Britain. It is in the social media. I have been surprised and shocked that the people that have believed, it's not just the common man on the street, PhD holders, professors, and what have you, they have believed. But it will just take simple knowledge to look at that as a knowledgeable person, people that have traveled. To begin with, 2 billion is not a handbag money. Do you understand? I was trying to figure out, even if somebody went to get a 5 million kwacha from the bank, the notes alone, you will have to have a small suitcase to carry them. Now, do you know that 30 million banknotes, whether it is a 1,000 banknotes or 2,000, 30 million weighs 30 tons. 60 million weighs 60 tons. And what is going out in the media is that someone gave me cash. If I was getting cash, let's say 60 million, but this is a 2 billion. 2 billion, I would need 120 10 tons lorries to bring the money here. This is a simple mathematics understanding. And apart from that, they are saying, okay, it has been transferred. For me, I will only, if anybody is traveling outside Malawi, you are allowed a maximum of $3,000 US. We have heard in Malawi that someone has been found with money at the airport. How do they find? When you are traveling, you take your hand luggage through scanning, and the scanning will show money. You must always show the source of your money. If you are depositing money in the bank in Malawi now, at the National Bank, cash, there's on the deposit slip, there's a place where you must indicate the source of the money, whether it is business, whether you have sold a house or anything. You must indicate the source. So physically, it's impossible that I can change that amount of money in Malawi. And even if I changed, it will be cargo. It will not be on me. It will be cargo. Even was it this morning, someone sent something, or last night, that I have been arrested at the Aratambo. I have 2.5 million US dollars. How? Where would I carry it? Do you understand? And then in the UK, if you get a transfer of 1,000 pounds, they call you to tell them the source. They will call you, what is the source of this money? They are so strict about money laundering rules. And the people that have traveled, they should know this. And even if that money was going to be transferred from bank to bank, when you are transferring money through the bank, it is in US dollars, it goes to New York before it goes to England. And the people have talked about a house that I bought in 1986. Even maybe the one who was writing about it was not even born. I've bought a house in Nottingham. It was bought in 1999. Do you understand? And all these, they are things that the people can easily sit down and think and even look around and begin to say, you know, the evidence is there. It takes even somebody just to find out. So what I can say is that Malawians, we are destroying our own country by all this fake news. But the intelligence and wisdom that we have to generate all this fake news. We can use it positively to build our country, not to destroy it.
Should it so happen that this matter has been resolved by the courts and it has been established that indeed there was rigging in the past election, how would that make you feel?
It will not change my feeling. Because if there is a rigging that I don't know, it will not change my feeling. Do you know, as a commissioners, we did not go to the polling centers. What we relied upon is the process that we have put in place, which we had shared with the stakeholders. We were seated in the boardroom, and everything will be processed. And as I said, that they expected the commission to endorse, but we just didn't endorse. We went through the processing. That's why it was taking long. So it will not change anything, because I have never had a mind to rig, as I have told you over and over again. Mm-hmm. To me, the process the way it is, I believed it would not be rigged. And we took every necessary step to ensure that there will not be rigging. When we went for the printing of the voting materials, the monitors were there, they were satisfied, they understood how the voting materials will be used, and we believed they will share with their political parties, their candidates. So there's nothing at all that was done under the carpet. But in life, you can do everything, do you understand, to stop something happening. But there are always maybe evil minds. We used to put burglar bars and think thieves will not come in. But eventually thieves found a way of making holes in walls to get into the place, to get into somebody's house, to get into somebody's property. So we deal with the issues that are on the ground that we know. But evil minds, they are also working overtime to beat a system. So I will be surprised, but it will not change my conviction that we did everything possible within our power to ensure that the elections were transparent, credible.
Justice Dr. Jane Ansah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for giving us time to talk to you.
Thank you.
And this is how we wind up our exclusive interview with Justice Dr. Jane Ansah, the chairperson of the Malawi Electoral Commission. My name is Joab Chakhaza. Goodbye.